comes to this, you better live it how you spit it, or be equivalent to subtraction. I give you the difference. A trunk full of work and a tank full of gas. That's the soul. The world's not enough.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ed Lee here with NYC Street Legends, once again with my man, MC Nautilus, the awesomest, the best, my favorite.
Chilling.
Yeah. So anyways, right now we were talking about in the last video about Copwatch, a very cool organization, and now we're going to talk about some other things that I just didn't have time for in the last video, such as what's the history behind Copwatch?
Copwatch is it's an alliance called the Justice Alliance, and that is a affiliation between different groups in the boroughs. But I think the main one is Justice Committee, which itself is a very interesting organization because it comes out of the Young Lords Party, which was like I believe like a Puerto Rican nationalist organization back in the day. I think they were from like Uptown. Before it was like
cool.
before it was gentrified, yeah.
All right.
And they organized as a way to protect themselves, and they transformed themselves into a community organization, and now we have things like Copwatch, which still help the community in many different ways. So it's cool to learn about that legacy, because you're not gonna learn about that on CNN or some shit. So just
Definitely
listening to the OGs and shit, telling me it's a Latino organization, Hispanic or Chicano, whatever you want to use, and as a Asian American, it's a different community that I'm as an outsider I'm coming into, and it's a great opportunity for me to learn and see my role in making New York just a better place, and
I like that.
taking part in the struggle, Yeah.
So I remember in the last video you talked about like police action in Ferguson and how we all know that what happened there wasn't really cool. But I see that you guys are working in New York City, and I know you said you were working in all the boroughs, right? Jackson Heights, Sunset Park. You guys have some people in the Bronx, stuff like that, in Harlem. But are you guys affiliated with any national organizations, groups? Is this like a nationwide movement, or how is this affiliated? Go ahead.
Definitely, I think we are part of a movement that has no real central authority. It's kind of like a spontaneous, emergent phenomenon. Anyone who's on Facebook enough, I'm pretty sure will have seen videos out of this Facebook page called Cop Block, and a lot of the videos on Cop Block are just heinous, right? And they're shocking. And a lot of them aren't filmed by trained Copwatch people. They're just filmed by bystanders who had a phone. We all have phones with cameras on them. And they just took it out and was like, the shit that I'm seeing is fucked up. I'm gonna record him. And you have these channels such as Cop Block who can put it out and make more people aware of the situation, because you have a lot of police apologists. You know what I'm saying? You have a whole city right now who's raising money for the officer who killed like Michael Brown, you know what I'm saying? Wearing fucking rubber bands and shit, saying like I am Darren Wilson, and that's insane because it just shows there's this huge divide between understanding of like black lives and young lives versus like this, I would say, just white supremacy in general. And it's crypto, it's crypto white supremacy, because it's like it's not overt like it was back in the day, but it still is. And people first have to get riled up, and they have to be in a way politicized, because it's not we're not born politicized, right? Something has to happen. We have to meet the right person, we have to read the right book, see the right video, which kind of propels us onto a path that realigns our priorities, because we have so many choices right now, right? A Friday night comes, you can go to the club and with your friends and hang out. That's normal for a lot of people. Or you can take some time and teach people about how to handle police. That's just one thing. There's so many things.
I'm definitely on the second one. Yeah, the clubbing. I really prefer fulfillment over entertainment. And that's really awesome. I think that's so great, man. I'm so glad people like you are out there.
I think people like me are out there because someone before me showed me, right? And I just want to make it clear, like, you know, what I do isn't it's like a father raising a kid, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
Dave Chappelle said it best, you know, or I think it was Chris Rock. He was like, you know, I'm raising my kids. He's like, dude, you're supposed to be raising your kids. What do you want,
Yeah.
a cookie, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, to me, as someone who's like extremely fortunate, because of my skin color and stuff, like, it's really the least I can do, and one of the things that, you know, is still a very big privilege for me to be able to do this, and just learn from people, and have people tell me their stories and trust me enough, you know. And it's really a privilege to work with people through my organization that are just, I feel like, wow, you know, like, they showed me a whole different side of the world that money can't buy. You know what I'm saying? It's really your passion, your dedication, your time, persistence. And I mean, people like you too. You know, like, I've learned so much shit from you, Ed. Like,
Hey, man,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, you know, maybe Cop Watch isn't for everybody. I'm not saying everybody should do Cop Watch, right? But everyone should know that the police, you know, you shouldn't have absolute faith in the system. You know, I think that's one thing we can all do. That's a passive thing. That's not an active, oh, let's go out on a Friday night and, like, walk around, you know?
Yeah.
But you should always look at them and know they don't trust you. They see you as a suspect. That's their training. Where does the NYPD come from? You know, their whole organization is based upon the old school, like, union busters. You know what I'm saying? That's where they came from. That's their culture from way back in their inception. So the more people realize this and can get politicized and maybe even radicalized, you know, and start to question the party line, I think that's the whole point of what I do.
Actually, that brings up a great question for me, because when you talk about, like, your involvement with these organizations, and I know you made personal sacrifices in terms of time, things like that. How do you fit it all into your schedule? I know you have a band that you work with. You also work with writing letters for people that are on, you know, prisoners, you know, that haven't been really tried correctly. You do also all kinds of, like, permaculture, things like that, really awesome stuff. How do you fit? Plus, you work, right?
Right.
How do you fit this into your schedule? You know, and I know other people out there may be wanting to get involved. They see these actions. They see the guy saying, "I can't breathe." They see that video. Then they see the guy die. You know, they see some crazy videos like this.
Yeah.
They see what's going on in Ferguson. They see this isn't right. I want to do something. I want to take some action. How do you put it into your schedule? How can they maybe, you know, find the time to make this happen? Make a difference.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out where to start, because I guess it's always like, a lot of people have told me, like, I'm really roundabout in my explanations, but I mean, I really got to start by being, like, pretty, like, Zen Buddhist about it, because I always see, like, the two perspectives you can take on things, and people can see me and what I do as personal sacrifices, you know. And yeah, it's very tiring, and I struggle to get enough sleep and rest and eat enough, you know. It's a sacrifice. But on the other hand, it's also, again, it's like a privilege. It's a reward, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a reward in its own right to be part of a community. That I think people forget, like, communities on Facebook aren't real, you know. Like, it's only what you can touch, you know what I'm saying? Like, the stuff that you can touch, that's what's real.
Right.
And the bond and the trust we get face to face. Facebook and the internet is a tool. It can help us coordinate, but, like, that will never substitute, like, real community. And what does that mean? That means knowing your neighbor, not just keeping in touch with someone around the world when in different time zones. You know what I'm saying? That community can wait. You know, you gotta look out for the person next to you, because one day you might run out of sugar or something. You gotta go borrow some, and one day a cop could be fucking choking your ass, and somebody gotta get on tape. That's community for me. So it's a privilege. How do I fit into my schedule? And it really just is about being efficient with your time. You know, like, maybe we'll get over this in go over this in another video. But, like, you know, personally, I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't smoke.
Okay.
You know, that's a means to an end, right? Like, I'm part of the straight edge community, and one thing that I've gotten out of it, maybe not many other people have, but it's just all the extra time and resources it frees for me, to do what I love. music, all the elements of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like people think I always tell people like I'm tired, I don't have enough time, but I have a lot of time. And self care is definitely one thing that's overlooked. One thing that's coming back to me now, like kind of kicking my ass. Like I should have taken a little better care of myself. So it's okay to love yourself and to sleep in sometimes. I used to be like super high strung, like I gotta wake up at 8 o'clock and do these 10 things, But if you're not well rested, you're not gonna do anything well. So just eat enough. The various things I do, they're very geo specific, like geolocation. Like some things I do in the Lower East Side, Jackson Heights. I grow food deeper in Queens. I got band practice in Williamsburg and fucking Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? I gotta run all these errands. It's a privilege because I got a fucking unlimited Metro Pass, and living in New York City, that's a possible thing. Just gotta be super efficient with your time. Like when you're on the train, like for 2 hours a day, split up right between different locations. I can be writing lyrics. I can be planning out what my next move is.
Sure.
Doing calculations, where the fuck.
So for people out there that are also having like a crazy schedule like yourself, because we're all in New York City, they see New York City is a lot of artists, a lot of people that are like pursuing second interests besides their regular daytime jobs. What hours do you put into? I know you said work about like 4 hours. Is it 4 hours a week? 4 hours?
You mean like for my job?
Like no, for this particular Cop Watch thing.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
It's very organized, right?
Yeah.
I think you said it was like 8 to 12 at night or something.
Sure.
What's your schedule?
There's different patrols. I usually try to dedicate at least 8 hours a month. So that's maybe one patrol every other week.
Sure.
Because I try to give myself quotas.
Little bits add up, man. You could take like 8 hours a week, and it might, like 8 hours a month, right? And it might seem like some even just gives 2 hours a month. Maybe even just 3, like they just do one shift. A shift is 4 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, so they do one shift a month, 4 hours, but you multiply it by 100 times, it's 400 hours. That's 10 whole work weeks. But if you just say, oh, I just don't have time for that, zero times a million is still zero. So just put in a little bit, even one shift a month. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
And when do you is there a certain day of the week that you go out? I don't know.
I try to schedule it because I'm lucky that my team has enough people that it can fill in. They can fill in people for me if I'm not there. If I can fill in for people if they're not there. We get a good number of people to go out on the patrol to be safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my team is out in the streets like maybe twice a week. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Twice a week, once a week at least. And we all work. We're not professional cop watchers. This isn't like a fucking job, right? This is community service. So everybody understands you gotta sleep. We ain't gonna
go through some training and stuff. How long is the training?
Training's like 2 hours.
Oh, that's cool.
2 hours, yeah. It's very simple. A lot of it is just on the field experience. There are roles within the team that aren't too intense, right? The most intense role we're not gonna put you in if you just your first patrol.
Is it kind of like a mentor relationship? Like if I came to Cop Watch, whenever, like this weekend, right? Would it be like you keep 2 hours with you and you teaching me, or is there like a set like a class you go to? How does it work?
It's more like a class. Like at least for me, I got trained by my friend Age. Shout out to Age, Aesthetics Crew. He basically just ran me through the history and gave me a good foundation, like a good mental framework, like why this is necessary, and kind of warned me of some pitfalls, and there's like a 2 hour thing, 1 to 2 hours, told me the roles and why the roles are necessary. But you learn really quickly out on the street, because
the best way is by doing it, right?
Best way is by doing it. And you learn like not to get discouraged when you do encounter pushback from the community, which is not at all often, because of the reputation that NYPD has.
Bizarre.
Yeah. Most people are definitely for less policing and just let us fucking do our thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not bothering anybody.
Right.
We're not committing crimes. Like, oh wait, you're gonna stop me just because I'm brown and black, or Asian even. There's a lot of like Asian people.
Or you look a certain way, you dress a certain way,
you talk a certain way,
you're in a certain place at a certain time,
certain gender.
Yeah,
totally.
Even transgender. You know,
Huge problem.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
especially Jackson Heights, right?
Yeah.
The big community
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
So our biggest challenges are knowing when to go out. Cause let's just say you have 4 hours for each patrol. When do you schedule that? You know what I'm saying? Is a Friday from 11 to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 11 to 3,
Yeah.
or is it after school? Cause a lot of cops stop and frisk students. You know.
Right.
You have to be.
Pick your battles, I guess.
Yeah, you have to be efficient with your allocation of resources.
Yeah.
Yeah. You only got so many people that we all gotta work. Well, we all gotta pay our bills, you know what I'm saying?
We're definitely not backed by the Koch brothers.
No, nah, this is all like
Oh, well,
pure,
all completely
pure passion.
independent.
Yeah, pure
Yeah.
passion. So, and it's, if you look at it as a like laborious, yeah, you're not gonna come.
Right.
If you look at it as a way to get closer to people and learn how to talk to people, meet people outside that you would never have talked to, it's great. You know, it's a way to reconnect with your community.
I'm excited, man. I'm coming out. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. If you have any more questions or comments, just put them below. And he'll be online. I'll be online. I'm gonna go to some stuff real soon and find out what this is all about. Try to answer questions, and maybe we'll even get some more people from the organization involved with this channel right here. It'd be super cool. So thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great one.
Peace.